Program Cars Plus, reminding you to put your phone down while driving. Distractions won't get you there. Heads up, Guam. IP&E, fueling excellence. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurants, always open, always local, and serving up favorites for over 40 years.
Starting now on Primetime, a verdict has been reached for a man accused of sexually molesting 4 minors. Plus, the island's governor spent the day meeting with the Department of Corrections officers to find out what's going on at the agency. And island lawmakers make their way back to the Guam Congress building downtown for this month's legislative session.
Good evening, Guam. I'm Chris Barnett, and our top story tonight. The governor spends the day meeting with Department of Corrections officers, while the senator with oversight of the prison says what's going down at DOC warrants a state of emergency declaration. Here's more in our top story. KUAM News has learned Governor Lulian Guerrero spent the day meeting with DOC officers and staff. This after a second letter from prison workers is sent to the media. Sources telling KUAM the governor told officers she's working to fill staff shortages at the prison. The governor met with staff as a group and then spent most of the day sitting down with corrections officers one-on-one. Adaloop's only statement, quote, "The governor is at DOC. We will comment when appropriate." Vice Speaker Talina Nelson just wrapped her second prison oversight hearing, and we asked her if she thinks the governor should declare a state of emergency at DOC.
I think that we need to acknowledge that there is a great risk at DOC right now, and whether the governor thinks that risk is pertinent to call a state of emergency or not, that is her purview, that is her authority.
Some prison officers working 24-hour shifts, and that's according to DOC head Samantha Brennan. And it's a blatant violation of federal labor laws. A second letter from prison staff outlining their concerns and problems was sent to the media. The letter called out a vice speaker and other senators at an oversight hearing for protecting Director Brennan. Nelson said she, quote, has never been one to take an individual's word for it, and that she's verifying concerns aired in both letters. While Nelson said it would be up to the governor to declare a state of emergency at the prison, she tells KUAM News she believes that would be the right call to make.
Yes, I think we should declare a state of emergency. The officers are at risk. The inmates are at risk. There's a lot of issues that we have down there, and I feel that the state of emergency will get the attention that they need in an expeditious manner before anyone gets hurt.
DOC sources tell KUAM one of the points brought up in the meeting, officers feeling endangered because it's a common occurrence for 2 prison officers to be responsible for overseeing 70 inmates. The governor has said she maintains full confidence in Brennan. Meanwhile, an emergency declaration would free up at least $250,000 and allow for the circumvention of procurement laws. Nelson has introduced Bill 227, which would appropriate $500,000 so that the prison can conduct recruit cycles for the next 2 fiscal years. In other news, the jury finds Jeffrey Cruz guilty of sexually molesting a minor for about a year-long period in 2017. The sexual abuse occurred when the minor would visit his home. Cruz was initially indicted on a total of 8 counts, but during trial it was reduced to 7, and eventually he was convicted on 2 counts of second-degree criminal sexual conduct as a first-degree felony for engaging in sexual contact with a minor known to him. Now, defense counsel Rocky Kingery says they plan to appeal the case, stating there were probably over 100 objections in this case. We're not blaming the jury or the judge. We're blaming how the prosecution, the AG's office, tried the case. Assistant Attorney General Sean Brown didn't have any comments. Now, sentencing was scheduled for January 9th, and the court allowed the defendant to continue to be released on bail conditions. Cruz could face 5 to 15 years in jail. Well, 2 of 3 drug defendants, Jason Ortiola and Roger Baliche, have entered a guilty plea, and their sentencing now awaits a decision and court appearance from co-defendant Jason Santos. Scheduled to appear today before Judge Anita Sokola, Santos was absent. His attorney, John Morrison, said he didn't know where the defendant was, stating that he has a good history of attending court hearings. Probation confirmed that Santos has been checking in. As you may recall, in 2018, all 3 defendants were arrested following a drug raid by the Mandania Drug Task Force. Ortiola appeared for the hearing, and probation also confirmed that there have not been any violations, as Ortiola is serving a 5-year probation period and has to check in 3 times weekly. Judge Sokola is scheduled for all defendants to return to court December 3rd. Well, the man wanted for questioning by GPD detectives relative to a robbery at Lucky Land Game Room in Dedido self-surrendered on Sunday. As KUAM reported, it was on November 5th that a wanted flyer was issued seeking the help from the community in locating 25-year-old K-Jack Steve. Now, upon self-surrendering, CID detectives met with Steve, where he was transported to GPD headquarters in T-Gen for questioning. He was later arrested and charged with second-degree robbery, theft of property, terrorizing, theft, resisting arrest, and public drunkenness. Well, police arrested the driver of a vehicle who allegedly had drugs on him and a minor who wasn't in a car seat. Devontae Dwan Young was driving in Emmets Hill on the eve of November 10th. Police noticed his vehicle because of its expired registration. According to court documents, Young was pulled over and didn't have a driver's license or the vehicle's registration. When he did present a copy of the insurance, it listed another person on it. Police also noticed a child in the front passenger seat who was not properly restrained. They also noticed a plastic baggie containing a white powdery substance under Young's leg, which tested presumptive positive for meth. He was charged with possession of a Schedule II controlled substance and driving without securing a child in a restraint system. Well, discussion on a bill to protect the elderly against financial exploitation kicked off this month's legislative session. Senator Amanda Shelton's measure was pulled back at an earlier session so she could consult with the AG to make it more consistent. Well, Senator Shelton says the bill's been tweaked to focus on elderly financial exploitation. She says stats show a sharp 32% rise in cases over the last 5 years. It's now the #1 most reported form of abuse against the manumku and the disabled.
The National Center on Elder Abuse estimates that financial exploitation of the elderly costs our senior citizens $2.9 billion a year. This type of abuse includes scams, using an ATM card without the permission of that elderly person, forgery, identity theft, and coercing seniors and disabled individuals into giving up their assets.
She says the bill seeks to address senior financial abuse by focusing on 3 areas: prevention, protection, and prosecution. Shelton says stats indicate the problem is likely worse because a high percentage of abuse cases go unreported. Well, back in May, a cleanup was held at a bus stop in a strip of road in Jigo that was covered in trash being illegally dumped. Fast forward to November, big surprise, the area is back to being an eyesore. That's frustrating residents. Joan Ogan-Charfers has more in this story.
Pam Duval, also known as Bus Stop Betty, sent a letter to Jigo Mayor Rudy Metanani inviting him to the bus stop on Challen Ramirez to discuss what he plans to do about the illegal dumping that continues to take place on this particular street in Jigo.
It's a situation of severe dumping over many years. A lot of residents don't have water, that a lot of them don't have garbage cans. And so as you drive down the street, you can see bags that are just chucked out the car, tires, appliances, everything.
Although Mayor Metanani was unable to meet Duval this morning, he spent much of the day clearing trash near FB Leon Guerrero Middle School and Simon Sanchez High School. He shares the same concerns and frustrations as Duval, stating we should all be responsible for the trash in our areas. He did add that he has helped Challen Ramirez countless times.
I don't know if it makes them feel good, to just pass by all these trash, and not do anything about it. It's just like the bus stops. The bus stops don't belong to me. It's not my responsibility. It's our responsibility. It's the public works responsibility. It's the parents' responsibility. It's the Department of Education's responsibility. It's the mayor's office responsibility. And I'm doing my part.
Tons of household trash, tires, appliances, and junk cars could be seen from the Ramirez bus stop all the way into the Zero Down housing area. According to Duval, it's an environmental issue, a public health issue, and a safety issue as well.
Kids have to use this bus stop. They should not have to be in a stinky, dirty bus stop to wait for their bus. We have broken glass, broken beer bottles inside the bus stop. The grass is high, but it's going to take dump trucks to take this garbage out.
Pam says she is just a concerned citizen who loves Guam and the village of Jigo.
It can be cleaned up with just, a bunch of, it's going to take a lot of people and a big effort. Community or government, I have no idea. Whoever the mayor is, it doesn't really matter. This needs to be addressed. And, that's bottom line.
Mayor Metanani had this to say.
If anybody wants to complain, maybe they should put it into action and help me. Because that's what I need, a lot of help, not criticism. I love criticism. But just as long as you have a solution, if you're just going to keep pointing at people, things aren't going to get done.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Jonah Goncharfris.
Hemlani Apartments back in the headlines after pictures went viral on social media of trash piled up in their Harmon complex. Sabrina Salas-Matanani has more in this story.
Vinod Hemlani knew it was only a matter of time.
So I just waited for them.
After this photo was posted on social media and went viral that Gov Guam would come knocking.
EPA stopped by this morning. Guru stopped by this morning.
According to Guam EPA spokesperson Nick Lee, the picture was so alarming to Mooning Mayor Luis Rivera sent the photo to the agency this morning. He confirms Guam EPA in fact paid a visit to Hemlani Apartments, verifying what Vinod told KUAM today.
If they look at this compound, it's clean.
Matter of fact, the video we shot today, much different than the photo gone viral.
It's just basically an old picture that was posted online. I made a comment on it and people just reacted to nothing.
According to Vinod, there was waste, just not piles of trash on his property.
I showed them, look, you wasted your time.
Hemlani Apartments has been in the headlines in the past for problems with violence and how it's managed its solid waste, but Vinod says they've cleaned up their act.
The security guard that I've gotten is a very strong security guard, and he has kept the trouble out. But you can't be always 100%. But he's done his job, he kept the place clean, he's done the changes, that's why we've been out of the news.
And he'd like to keep it that way. Unfortunately, in this situation,
people will just react, whoever posts anything.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Sabrina Salas-Matanani.
Hey, stick around for more news here on Primetime. You're watching KUAM.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
Now there's a technology that's